besties, welcome back to my channel. It is February and I have not chosen the books that I want to read this month and built my February TBR, so I decided to go on Instagram and let everyone on Instagram pick the books I'm going to read this month. I actually had a lot of fun because I felt like I had a lot of books to choose from, and sometimes too many options is overwhelming. I like that you guys got to choose the books I'm going to read, and especially because if you guys want reviews for those books, I will deliver. I posted on Instagram of all the books that I wanted to read, and I think there was about like 20? That might be dramatic. It might be like 16 or 14. I don't know, some even number. I posted 2 books on every slide, and then I had like emojis that would match the book, and I let everyone vote on which one I should pick. I like the emoji aspect because I feel like no one is picking books based on the covers or the author or like whatever they've heard before. It's strictly on how you interpret those emojis, and it was really cool to see what people voted for. If you want to participate in something like this again, definitely check out my Instagram. It's at Sally_reputation. Also the same on TikTok. Plugging every single social media I have. Check out the description below if you want to learn more. Anyways, let's get into the video and show you all the books that I'm going to read this month based on your selection. If the post is already over... Archives. Let's go to archives. Oh, still see the numbers. Okay, I don't know why I'm like going wild. Anyways, for the first slide, these are the 2 books I gave. One is very like princess royalty and the other is very summery. If you haven't guessed these books yet, the first one is Cinderella's Faking It and the second one is Happy Place by Emily Henry. I will say it was a little hard finding the emojis because I have never read these books before, so I'm giving emojis on what like I've heard, what I think, the cover. But I don't know if these emojis are accurate. Like I threw in a lobster for Happy Place because I think they go to a lobster festival. I don't know, don't quote me on that. These are the 2 books for the first slide. Cinderella's Faking It is very like soap opera, over dramatic, hidden identity, and it's just entertaining to read. It's very lighthearted. I'm actually 30% in from last month or 50% in, so I've already read this book like halfway. I just don't know if I want to finish it this month. And then Happy Place by Emily Henry is a tried and classic true like romance book. I was gonna say romance book. Doesn't make sense. I know her new book is coming out in April, and so if I read this, then I would like be caught up in like the Emily Henry romance verse. I don't know if that's what people are calling it, but that's what I'm calling it, because she also does have like YA books. But I recently got this and it was 50 cents, so I was like, you know, I just want to read books that I buy right away while I'm still feeling excited about them, so I added it into possibility of this month's TBR, and the winner was 60% Happy Place and 40% Cinderella's Faking It. I was surprised because this book felt like very summery based on the emojis, and I thought everyone would go the other route because summer's not here yet. I mean, like, winter's not over, spring's not arrived, but you guys want me to read Happy Place, and I'm really excited about this just because I just bought it and I'm gonna hold on to that excitement while I still have it. These are the next 2 books. The stats are the same, it's just reversed. The first option got 60% and the second option got 40%. The first option is Clyde, and I had a feeling it would win just because it's hockey romance, and I feel like everyone loves a good hockey romance, a good sports romance, and I've heard absolutely amazing things about this, and I feel like it was kind of predictable based on like the hints I gave. The cover color and then the emojis, like the hockey and the student, like it just, I felt like it was obvious, but I don't know, that might just be me. I'm actually super excited to read this. I recently got it on my Kindle, so I think I will be reading this faster than I thought I would because this is quite a hefty book in my opinion. It's like 400 pages, and so if I'm on my Kindle, pages don't really feel real, so things just scroll really fast. This is a college sports romance. It's about a captain of the hockey team who is kind of punished. He's got in trouble for something, and so he has to help a student working on her graduation paper, and she's studying hockey. They get off on the wrong foot, so it's like enemies to lover, and I'm really excited to see how their love story unfolds because I've heard it being compared to Icebreaker by Hannah Grace, and I love that book to my core with everything that I have. So I'm excited to chase that same feeling. The second book is On the Hustle by Adriana Herrera. I'm genuinely really excited about this. I've been cheating a little bit, so I just did this slide, but I've already been reading like from last month and continuing on. I started this book last month, so I was like, oh, I'll just continue it on audiobook. I'm almost done. I'm like 50%, 60%. Should I pause this book and jump to Collide, or just finish it through and read 2 more books? I started this in January and it's absolutely amazing. I thought I wouldn't like the male main character because he was this like grumpy, didn't really like pay attention to her when she was working for him, and then she quit and now he's like freaking out because he's always loved her. And I was like, okay, like he could have communicated better. But this is dual point of view, and now like seeing his point of view, he's actually so charming, so flirty. Just, I love this man. I love Theo Ganas. He is everything. Like, once you read his point of view and the way he thinks and the way he talks, and now that they're not working together, he's not scared to blur the line of workplace romance, especially because they were like his own company. He didn't want any scandals. Now that they're not working together, he is like, oh, I can be my real flirty self. And he is definitely so charming. I love this man and I love her. I think she's absolutely like an amazing female main character. She's so strong, so entertaining to read as well. She's also very witty, and I love that. Like, she's so smart. I don't know if I should pause this book, but this was on my TBR and it was not selected, but I'm genuinely excited for both. I think both of these books are amazing. Next up, I decided to do something kind of fun, and I went to the library and picked out a bunch of books. And so I was like, oh, I'll add my library books into my TBR. I feel like when I read from my TBR, or like when I'm building my TBR, I tend to look for books that I already own because I have way too many books and I'm not reading them fast enough. So I'm always trying to read more from my collection because I don't want to feel like I bought all these books and I was excited about them and then I ended up never reading them. So I always pick books on my bookshelf, or like books that I own. But I love the library. Like, there's nothing wrong with the library. So I was like, I'm just going to add library books into my TBR because that way I'll read them. I don't know if this is making sense, but I definitely read like library books all the time. I just never intentionally add them to my TBR because I'm always focusing on like books that I already have and own to read from. And so if I find a book at the library, I'm like, oh yeah, that looks exciting, I'll read it. And then it's not very like I set a goal to read that book. You know, that's besides the point. Anyways, these are the 2 books for this next slide. We have Mickey Chambers Shakes It Up. I found this at the library. I definitely seen it before on Bookstagram, but I was like, my library has this, and I think it's like from Kindle. It's not from Kindle, but I've seen it on Kindle. But the cover is so cute. Look at that. Mickey Chambers Shakes It Up, and look at the olives, look at the cover. And it's also by a Black author, and it's Black History Month, so I definitely really wanted to read a lot of Black authors this month, but definitely always read diversely throughout the whole year. This cover, it just really called to me, and I thought it was very cute. The reason I decided to add library books to my TBR was because of this book. I had on-holded it like last month, and I finally have it now. This is That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a... Do I know how to read? This is That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon. I saw this on my library's website and I was like, that looks very entertaining. It definitely is like paranormal romance, but the title, it just felt very comedic. It didn't feel like dark paranormal romance. It felt like fun, flirty, rom-com paranormal romance. And I don't think I've read a lighthearted, fun paranormal romance. I guess the Ice Planet Barbarian series, I think that's a lie. I have read lighthearted ones. But I feel like when I think of like paranormal romance, it's very dark and like scary. This one felt lighthearted, so I'm excited for it. I do have, I don't know if you can see, I'm trying to cover my library's name, 14 days to read it. So the font is quite big, like bigger than the other books. So this will go by pretty quickly if I let it. Between these 2 books, this one won. Mickey Chambers Shakes It Up. I think because of the emojis. I mean, both books look absolutely entertaining and I'm excited to read both of them, but I feel like the emojis I picked for this book was it was a great emoji combo. Like the olive, the martini glass, the book, the heart. It just made sense. And then this one felt like a little dark, but I put like a barrel. I don't know, I think that one was a little off, but I'm actually really excited to read this one and I genuinely can't wait. For this one, I might read it in March because I'm genuinely also really excited to read it. Look at the cover. Next up, I have 2 Berkeley books. If you didn't know, I'm part of the Berkeley Influencer Program, so they send me books every single month, which I am truly so thankful for, and I get access to new releases and just hold a book before it even comes out, which is amazing and so exciting. So I decided to add 2 Berkeley books that I was really excited from, since they sent me probably like 10 by now, and I picked 2 that I really want to read this month, and I let you guys decide what we're going to read, which is what we've been doing this whole video. This one was kind of a tight race at first, but I think in the end it ended up being pretty clear which one was the winner. But in the beginning it was like 50-50, 50-50, 50, maybe 51, but it was pretty even. So this one was a tight competition. The first book in the selection is The Duchess Takes a Husband. I feel like I say this every TBR, but I really want to read historical romances. I think the writing intimidates me a little bit, especially like Duchess and Lord and things like that. Like, I don't know the hierarchy of all of those names, and so I've always been a little bit scared, and especially like I think I'm just scared that I won't understand it and I'll get confused and then I won't like it, and I really want to like it. So that's why I've always been like hesitant to read historical romance, even though I really want to. But I saw one of my mutuals on Instagram post about this book, and basically like all the books that this author has read, and they absolutely adore her books. I'm excited. This was the first page I pulled on. It's going to be a good book. So I'm excited to give this a try. I think the cover is so beautiful. It's like that emerald green, and she just looks like she's a princess. Or she might be a queen. I don't know what a duchess is. Anyways, this is a mass paperback book, which I think is adorable. Like, it would fit in my little shoulder bag, or I could just carry it around and it's not too big. I adore this and I'm so excited. Tagline says, a scandalous arrangement between a London rogue and an American duchess leads to lavish stakes. Maybe it's forbidden love, or just like there's a lot at stake. You know, high risk relationship. I don't know if that's what it's called. But the next book is If Only You by Chloe Lise. This is a Bergman sister novel, because it's called the Bergman Brothers series, but it's just a group of siblings and there's sisters and brothers. This whole series has been published before and it was indie published, and so now Berkeley picked it up and they have brand new covers. This one is extra cute because I just love everything about it. It screams spring and just like fun, fluffy romance. This is a sports romance. I think she plays soccer. What does he play? Did I add it in the emojis? He plays hockey. Oh, is this Ren's friend? Anyways, I think I'm getting confused. I've already read some of the books in the Bergman Brothers series. I don't read them in order, just kind of whatever it is. They're all interconnected standalone, so I could read them whenever, but I'm excited to continue this because I know I like Chloe Lise's writing. I love her stories, and this would just be another one to the love box or the red box. I don't know if love box makes sense. So I'm excited for both of these, and especially because it was a tight race. I know everyone is like excited for me to read these. I'm genuinely excited about every single book, so don't get me wrong if I forget to say that for every single slide, but these two specifically, like, they've been on my TBR, so this was a tight race. The winner ended up being If Only You. And I think it's because it's a sports romance, especially because I put like the hockey stick or the hockey puck. The hockey stick, the soccer, the ice skating. I think everyone knows I love a good sports romance. So this was the winner by 60%, with 60%, not by 60%. So this was 40 and then this was 60. Okay, take me back to math. Anyways, so I'm super excited to read this. I just have a good feeling about this because I've loved every single book Chloe Lise has written and that I have written. Dude, I can't talk today. That I have read. So I know this one is going to be good and I'm so excited for it, and this will definitely be back on my TBR sometime this year. Maybe next month, maybe in November, whatever I'm in the mood for. For the next slide, I have one physical book and an ARC, which I don't think I've added an ARC to this competition. Followers chooses my TBR yet, but the next book is Barbarian Taming by, I forgot the author's name, Ruby Dixon. So the ARC for this slide is Barbarian's Taming by Ruby Dixon. I love the cover of this. I love the hot pink. It really just calls to me. And this is like a lighthearted, fun paranormal romance because I've definitely read from the Ice Planet Barbarian series before. And I say it every single time. It's just entertaining. Like, it's just so fun to read. Everything is very predictable. Like, nothing really wild happens that I'm like, oh, that has never happened in the previous books. Everything is very predictable and all the books move at a similar pace. And you just know there's going to be like a 6-foot-tall blue alien and a human who is a little bit scared, and sometimes there's like an enemies aspect or a friends aspect. It's some kind of trope that makes them together, and it's basically their resonance where their hearts, or cooey, I think that's what it's called, connects, and then they have to get married and like be together. But because of that cooey, they're literally inseparable. They're inseparable, and they just like have their romance. Very predictable series, but I eat it up every single time. I love it. I got an arc for Barbarian's Taming, and this is from Berkeley. I wanted to read it because I just think the cover is so cute. And then the second book is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I just saw a special cover, like special edition cover for this book, and I'm obsessed with it. I think it's so stinking cute, and I love this cover. But the other one is very, very cute. I also heard it's like 45 bucks, and I'm like, wow, 45 bucks for books? I don't know. I think sometimes $20 books is like outrageous. And it's not outrageous for the price of art. It's more like outrageous for the price that I used to pay. Because I used to pay like $12 for a book, and then somewhere in between, publishing like increased, and behind the scenes of stuff I don't really know in publishing, but it's like, this is a different conversation. I'm getting off track. Anyways, the next book is Yours Truly. I've heard so much about Abby Jimenez, and she's coming out with another book. I actually have a book by her. I bought this one a long time ago because someone said it felt like a Taylor Swift song, and I was like, okay, you convinced me. You don't have to say anything else. I will buy it. And I did. And then I never read it, which is so sad because like, why am I buying books if I don't read it? That's why I'm building my TBR. Anyways, I cannot stick to one single thought today. I keep on talking all over the place. But after I bought that, Abby Jimenez actually released this book, and this book took the internet by a storm. It was so popular. I just saw so many reviews for it, so many aesthetic videos, and so I think this one I've heard more about than this one, The Friend Zone, but I'm just excited to read from the author. And I think this one tugs on your heartstrings, and I heard Steph Brower say that the male main character is absolutely everything, like the perfect book boyfriend. So I'm excited to learn more about Dr. Jacob. When it comes to these two books, the winner is Yours Truly. Like, which is exciting because I want to read from this author, and also it's a book I own. Like, I love arcs, and I love reading something before it comes out and just knowing information and like the ending before everyone who didn't get an arc read it. So I love that. But this one has been on my TBR for quite a long time, so it definitely checks off the go of reading books that I already have. But I am excited for Barbarian's Taming, don't get me wrong. We have 2 more slides, and the next book, I actually can't show one of them. I did not realize it was part of SMP, which is St. Martin's Press, and there's a boycott going on if you want to learn more about it. There's tons of information on TikTok and on Instagram. There's Readers for Accountability, which is an account on Instagram that talks about the SMP boycott and why people should participate, and just more about the movement. I did not realize that, so I can't be showing the book from SMP. It has nothing to do with the author. It has more to do with the publisher and what they stand for when they defend their employees who are racist and problematic. But the second book in this slide is Bride by Ali Hazelwood, which is her first paranormal romance. I realized I added a lot of paranormal romance in this month's TBR. I don't know why. Bride just came out today. Today is the 6th, and even before then, people who have received arcs, I have not heard anyone say a bad thing about that book. Everyone gives it 5 stars. Everyone says it's entertaining, and the male main character is definitely like possessive and like my wife kind of character. So I'm excited about that, and I just can't wait to read it. It did win with 69%, and the other book got 31%, so I definitely will be reading Bride this month. I'm really excited because I feel like I haven't read from Ali Hazelwood in a long time. I loved her first book. The Love Hypothesis actually got me back into reading, and like that's why I'm even here right now with a booktube, book talk, and bookstagram. Like, she really kicked it off. And then her second book, Love on the Brain, really just wasn't my vibe. It also was like the Love Hypothesis, but like in a different font, like just different character names. And so I was like, okay. And then everyone really loved Love Theoretically, but that came out and I tried to read it when I was in a reading slump, and so that definitely did not fly by the reading slump. I could not even turn a page, and it has nothing to do with the writing because it genuinely was entertaining and I loved the prologue, but I was just in like my down bad reading slump. And so I'm excited for Bride now that I'm back in my reading mood, and it just seems so entertaining. I'm excited for it, and I've heard great things, so I want to be a part of the the bandwagon that everyone has been reading because I don't want to get FOMO. Okay, so for the final book, oh my gosh, I was wrong. Oh no, I did this wrong, guys. Okay, so the book that I was talking about that I thought was Bride was actually Losers Part 1. Or no, it's The Dare. The first book that I was talking about that I thought was The Bride, it's actually The Dare. I don't know how I confuse those emojis. This is what I'm looking at. Like, I'm just looking at the results right now on my archives. I meant to say The Dare won. The next two books, these are the final two books. It's Bride versus Keep Her Safe by QB Tyler, and Bride didn't win. And I thought Bride won. To recollect everyone, this slide is The Dare versus a book from SMP, and The Dare had won by 69%, which is kind of iconic because if you know anything about The Dare, dirty numbers, dirty anything just really connects to it. So I will be reading The Dare, and The Dare is the prequel novella to The Losers Duet, and this is The Losers Part 1, and then there's also Part 2. It's about a good girl, like in high school. They're not in high school anymore. It's post-high school, but she was like the prom queen, dating the quarterback. Just very popular, very like high school popular girl, dating popular boy image. And post-high school, she ends up getting in kind of a polyamorous relationship with 3 other guys, and they're known as like the losers of high school. Like, they were really considered nobodies, and so they get into a relationship, and it's very check your trigger warnings kind of reading. But it's very like, whoa, that is a lot. And I wanted to read the prequel before I read The Losers Duet because everyone was recommending it, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna read Losers Part 1, and everyone was like, read the novella before it because it gives you context, and it's like a good determining factor if like you can handle these books, because it's like a shorter version. And so I was like, okay, let me read The Dare. So I guess I will be reading The Dare and not Bride, because for the next books, it is Keep Her Safe by QB Tyler and Bride by Ali Hazelwood. So I talked about Bride by Ali Hazelwood, my little spiel. I will not be reading it because it got 36% and Keep Her Safe got 64%. I'm excited because I feel like we did have quite a few paranormal romance in the selection. I don't know if any won though. Oh, yeah, none of them won. Okay, guess I won't be reading paranormal romance this month. But Keep Her Safe is very like royalty, it's bodyguard romance. And I was thinking, because Cinderella is Faking It didn't win, this is also like another fun royalty romance. Bodyguard romance, age gap romance, very fun and flirty. If you know QB Tyler's writing, it is fun and flirty. It is a good time. It is entertaining. So I'm excited to read more from QB Tyler's. Sorry for that little mix-up. I genuinely am confused myself. I don't know what I'm going through. Anyways, these are all the books I'm going to be reading this month, which is a solid TBR because yes, I posted 14 books, but you know, divide that in half. We only selected 7. It is a leap year, so I do have an extra day. Maybe that will be like my long reading day, but I'm excited for every single book that you guys picked. I hope I can read them and give you guys a review because you guys seem as excited as I am about this. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy. If you want to participate in something like this again, I definitely had a lot of fun, so I want to do it again like sometime in the future. Check me out on Instagram or Bookstagram. Check me out on Instagram or TikTok. Not the same. Definitely check me out on my other social platforms, and I hope I can see you guys soon on here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll catch you on the flip side.